Welcome everyone. We will start seated. Finding a comfortable seat on your chair. Letting the sit bones, your bum, feel nice and secure, feel heavy. And also the backs of your thighs being allowed to rest down, feeling secure. Maybe finding a sense that you're sitting up tall. Eyes can be open or closed. Maybe fidgeting a little bit as you before you really settle in, maybe swaying forward and back, side to side. Letting the weight be evenly distributed. And maybe pausing a little bit, noticing if one side of your body seems to be a little heavier, and really taking the time to balance it out. Maybe allowing the shoulders to melt down a little bit. And then feeling your feet on the floor. Making any adjustments to the feet, letting them be even, parallel. And then again, finding the lifting of the spine, the sitting up tall. Maybe imagining a puppet string through the crown of your head, lifting you up. So even with this tall seat, this lift of the spine, letting it not be too rigid, letting there be a little bit of fluidity, a little bit of space. And then allowing your body to breathe. Noticing the breath, first of all. Noticing how far it flows into your body. Observing if one side of the breath is longer than the other, the inhale or the exhale. And then can you slightly start to deepen the breath, sending it a little lower into your body? If it's sitting in the chest, maybe it could move down into the ribs. If you're starting off and it's already in the ribs, maybe sending it down into the belly. And if it's already in the belly, maybe just finding a slightly fuller breath. Spending a few breaths, observing the breath, deepening the breath any amount. And imagining that you can smooth out any rough edges, letting it flow fluidly, smoothly, easily. Staying with the breath. As the breath becomes smoother and the forehead becomes smoother. Can the jaw soften if there's any tension there? Can the arms and hands be just a little heavier or softer, resting down? Maintaining your awareness of the breath, keeping your focus. Gently bringing awareness back as your mind wanders. And then letting it go, letting go of the focus. Allowing your breath to return to its natural rhythm. We'll start to move gently into some movement with the head. Start with the exhale, tipping the chin down towards the chest. When your inhale arrives, we'll lift the head, lifting the gaze, tipping the head up towards the ceiling. As the exhale arrives, tipping back down, moving with your breath, moving with your pattern. Using the full breath in one direction. Maybe finding a slight pause as each breath turns around. Just dwelling for a moment in that in-between point. Following your next inhale, let's make our way back to center, back to facing forward. Taking your time to get here. And then noticing any sensations in the neck. Noticing any sensations in the rest of your body. Noticing if any unnecessary tensions crept in. We soften the belly again, maybe softening the shoulders down again, softening the forehead before we move into our next movement. Starting in center with an inhale. As you exhale, turning your head towards the left. And inhaling back to center. And exhaling over to the right. Following your breath pattern. Moving with your breath and maybe noticing the pauses between each turnaround and just pausing, dwelling in that in-between moment for just drawing it out ever so slightly. When you've done both sides about evenly, making your way back to center as you're ready. And pausing to notice sensations, feelings in the neck, in the skull, in the shoulders, anywhere that you might feel this movement. And then let's start moving into the shoulders a little bit. We'll start with some simple shoulder rolls. Hands can remain on the lap. Hands can lift or fingertips could come to shoulders, whatever feels right this morning. And we'll roll the shoulders in any direction, whether it's back or forward first. Making these rolls as big or small as feels good this morning. And then when you're ready, we'll switch directions. A couple more times if it feels okay. And then releasing, allowing the hands to come back to your lap, softening the shoulders down, and giving yourself this moment to notice sensations in the right and the left shoulder. Maybe there's some sensation in the fronts of the shoulders of the chest area, or maybe in the upper back body. Just noticing where the feeling lands or has effect. Let's stretch the arms out wide. They can be either in line with your shoulders or maybe a little lower, depending on how your shoulders feel this morning. We'll reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling, stretching out through the palms. Breathing here for a few breaths. Really reaching out through the palms, through the heel of the hand, fingertips reaching towards the ceiling. And then let's switch the direction of the fingers. So fingertips are tipping down. And this time you're reaching out through the back of your hand or through the top of your wrist. Breathing here. Stretching out through the tops of the wrist, reaching the fingers to the floor. One more time, flipping fingers up towards the ceiling. And then reaching fingertips down towards the floor. And then releasing the hands, maybe shaking out the wrists, fingers a little bit. One more time, we'll stretch the arms out wide, but this time we'll imagine we're holding doorknobs with the fingers, so the fingers are kind of stretched out, almost like you're holding a round doorknob, not one of those banana type ones. From here, we'll turn the doorknob towards the front of the room, and then turn the doorknob towards the back of the room. So we're rotating the whole arms forward and back. Noticing how much rotation we can get. Not looking for any pain, but just moving the arm bones in the shoulder sockets. It feels like we're moving the hands, but we're moving the upper arms as well. A couple more times if it feels okay to stay, knowing you can come out at any point if it becomes too much for the arms. And then releasing hands back to your lap as you're ready. Giving yourself that pause. Where are you feeling the movement? The after effects. And let's move into the spine next. Let's start with a twist this morning. So letting the feet rest firmly on the ground. Resetting yourself so that the feet almost feel as though you're pushing into the mat a little bit, or the floor. A little bit of activity in the legs to keep the legs and the hips really stable. Imagine the sit bones are glued down. Finding that lift of the spine again, nice tall spine. So you've got activity in the legs, tall spine, we're still breathing. When your next exhale arrives, turning the shoulders towards the left, maybe walking your hands towards the left leg. With every inhale, thinking about the crown of the head or that puppet string lifting you up. With every exhale, just allowing your body to settle into the twist wherever you land. We're not looking to crank around, just a gentle twist. Let's unwind as you're ready, coming back to center. Maybe softening the legs just for a moment. And then finding that activity again, feet pushing into the floor, sit bones grounded, the legs are really stable, breathing, crown lifted. When your next exhale arrives, turning the shoulders towards the right, maybe walking the hands towards the right knee or thigh. With every inhale, crown of the head lifts. With every exhale, settling into the twist, allowing your body to be here. Unwinding as you're ready, coming back to center. Releasing the legs a little bit, little wiggle of the knees. Let's just stamp the feet on the floor briefly. Almost a massage for the bottoms of the feet, the soles of the feet. And then settling the feet back down. And noticing sensations in the feet. Let's find that slight activity again in the legs, pushing the feet into the floor. Stability, maintaining that parallel idea of the feet being parallel. Knees and hips are stable. And we'll find our side bend. So any side bend that you like today. We could have hands on hips. We could reach arms anywhere along this continuum, from reaching fingertips down to the floor or up as if we were holding a beach ball, airplane. So finding whatever feels right this morning. I'm going to do the beach ball variation. So legs are active, pushing into the floor. Thumb is glued to the chair. Wherever your hands are, breathing, tall spine. Finding your breath. With your next exhale, tipping to one side, your preference. Then we'll inhale back up. And exhaling to the other side. So keeping the legs stable. Keeping the breath flowing as easily as possible. Let's do 2 more on each side. Keeping the bum glued to the chair. Last round. Landing back in center when you're ready. No rush. Releasing the hands. Releasing the legs. Maybe finding a little wiggle again. Finding that tall and neutral spine. Sitting up again. Finding the spaciousness in your chest and upper back. Shoulders reaching out. Crown of the head lifted. Puppet string through the top of your head. But letting go of any rigidity, letting it be a little bit fluid. Room to breathe. And let's move into our cat-cow variation. I'll turn sideways. So arching and rounding the back. If you have a preferred variation, we could find that. Hands can start either on the knees or come interlaced behind the top of or the back of the head. If you're choosing the interlace behind your head, the elbows will reach up and back on an inhale. And as you inhale, we'll draw elbows towards each other and in towards the belly to round the spine. Almost like butterfly wings. The other variation with hands on knees would be to draw the chest and belly forward through, or chest through the upper arms, pulling the shoulder blades towards each other. And as you exhale, pushing the knees or thighs away, rounding the spine. So we're finding the same shape in the spine, just with different arm variations. So finding your preference, and we'll move through this 3 or 4 times. Knowing that when you've had enough, you can always come back to a neutral seat. Or make any adjustments in the pose that feel intuitively good in your body, if there's something that you know makes more sense for you. As you're ready, coming back to your neutral spine, tall seat. Noticing any sensations from arching and rounding your back. And let's move down into the legs and hips. Moving forward slightly on your chair so that the sit bones are still secure, still stable, but the knees and thighs have a little more space to move. Finding that tall and neutral spine. Finding that, or noticing how your body feels in the tall and neutral spine. Memorizing it. And then let's reach down and pick up the right thigh. Bringing it up towards you. Can you find that same tall and neutral spine, even with the added weight of your leg and your arms? And let's start some gentle movement, just some very small circles to begin. Trying to keep the tall and neutral spine, the broad shoulders. Then let's loosen the upper spine a little bit. We'll find some bigger circles in the leg. Letting posture go for a few moments. Switching directions of the leg when you're ready. And then coming back to neutral. The leg is still lifted. Reconnecting with the tall spine. Crown of the head lifts, shoulders are broad. From here, how would it feel to stretch the right leg out? Toes can point or the foot can flex. And then bend. So the knee might not come all the way straight, but just straightening it out as much as feels okay. A couple of times, moving into the knee. And then releasing right foot back to the floor. Noticing sensations, any differences, right leg to left leg. And then we'll move over to the left. Finding your tall and neutral spine first. Finding the broad shoulders. Then we'll lift left thigh up towards us. Reconnect the tall spine, crown of the head lifting. Small circles to begin, keeping the nice tall posture in the torso and the spine. Then we'll soften the posture a little bit, allowing some rounding, and let the circles in the hip get bigger. Switching directions when you're ready. Coming back to neutral, still holding the left thigh, reconnecting with the tall spine, crown of the head lifting. And then from here, how would it feel to straighten out the left leg any amount? Toes can point or foot can flex, and then bend. About twice more. Moving towards straight, and then bending. Moving towards straight, and bending. Then let's release the left foot to the floor. Again, finding your tall seat. Noticing sensations from left leg, any differences from left leg to right leg. Beautiful. We'll come back to the right leg and we'll move into the ankle and foot. So again, lifting the right thigh. Finding your tall spine. And then we'll find some ankle circles, right foot. Switching directions when you're ready. Pointing and flexing the foot a few times. And then releasing right foot to the floor. Noticing sensations, differences from right foot to left foot. Maybe a little sparkling or movement of energy. Maybe no difference, just noticing what you notice. Let's lift the left thigh. After lifting, repositioning, finding your tall spine, crown of the head lifts, and finding some ankle circles on the left side. Switching directions when you're ready. Pointing and flexing the foot a few times. And then releasing left foot back to the floor. Noticing sensations or differences from left to right. And let's move into our sun salutations. So finding your comfortable seat, whether that is feet parallel about hip width distance apart, or whether it would feel good to have a wider stance, allowing for your torso to come through as we fold forward. And we can change it up partway through as well. I'm going to start wide today. If it feels good to have knees more narrow as you fold forward, finding a little bit of compression between belly and thighs, that can feel nice too sometimes. So starting where it feels good and deciding on your arm variation. Maybe today you're sweeping arms up and overhead, maybe aiming towards palms touching. Maybe that doesn't feel so good on the shoulders and the arms are wide, or maybe cactus arms, or reaching the fingertips out to the sides. Maybe reaching fingertips wide and down towards the floor. So any of these variations, or if you're creating new ones, that's okay too. Deciding, making an intention, where are your arms headed, regardless of what anyone else is doing? What would feel good for you this morning? Once you have your position in mind, let's inhale, sending the arms wherever they're headed. Exhaling, hands to thighs. With an inhale, drawing the chest and belly forward, cow pose. With your exhale, rounding the spine like a Halloween cat, belly towards the back of the chair. Inhaling all the way back up to a neutral spine. And as you exhale, folding forward, forearms might come to the thighs, fingertips might trace the shins, or the hands might come to the floor. With your inhale, we'll sweep right arm up into a twist. Exhaling the right arm back down. Inhaling, left arm sweeps up into a twist. Exhaling the left arm back down. Our next inhale brings us back to a neutral spine, arms sweep in the same direction we started with. Exhaling, hands back to thighs. Beautiful. Setting your intention for round 2 of our sun salutation. Do the legs stay where they are? Are the arms headed somewhere else? Taking a moment to decide. And as you're ready, inhaling to sweep arms wherever they're headed. Exhaling, hands back to thighs. Inhaling to draw chest and belly forward, gaze lifts, cow pose. Exhaling to round the spine, Halloween cat. Inhaling to come back to a tall and neutral spine. Exhaling to fold forward, forearms to thighs, maybe fingertips to shins, or hands might come to the floor. Inhaling the right arm into a twist. Exhaling, right arm back down. Inhaling, left arm into a twist. Exhaling, left arm back down. Inhaling the arms back to their starting position, inhaling to a tall and neutral spine. And exhaling, hands back to thighs. Last sun salutation, making any adjustments in your legs that would feel good. For the last round, where are your arms headed? Deciding. And as you're ready, sweep the hands wherever they're headed. Inhale. Exhaling, hands back to thighs. Inhaling to draw chest and belly forward, cow pose. Exhaling to round the spine, Halloween cat. Inhaling back to a tall and neutral spine. Exhaling to fold forward, forearms to knees, fingertips to shins, or maybe hands or fingertips to the floor. Inhaling the right arm into a twist. Exhaling the right arm back down. Inhaling left arm into a twist. Exhaling left arm back down. Inhaling both arms back to where they want to head, coming back to our neutral spine. Releasing the hands to your lap. Landing in our tall space, crown of the head lifted. Pausing for a few moments, a few breaths. Noticing how the body feels, where you're feeling the effects of the sun salutation. Then we'll do a few seated warrior poses. As you're ready, widening your stance so that the knees are quite far apart. The left knee is pointing in the same direction as the left toes. And let's stretch the right foot out as far towards straight as feels okay in the body. My foot tends to turn so that my toes are pointing towards the sort of camera direction forward. But if that doesn't feel good, the toes can also point away from you. Now try in this different position, seeing if you can find that sense of pushing the legs into the floor, finding that secure base. The legs are a little active. And then reaching the arms out wide. Finding a warrior 2 shape, maybe turning the head to gaze over your left fingertips. Reaching out through the fingertips, but letting the shoulders be soft as much as possible. Legs are pushing into the floor. Letting the left hand come down to rest on the knee, or if it would feel good, the right left forearm could come to the left knee. And the right hand can come either to the hip, to the waist, with the elbow drawing back, imagining that you're turning the chest up towards the sky. If it feels okay for the shoulder from here, maybe right arm reaches up and alongside your ear, reaching over your head. Feet are still active, legs are still active. Remembering to breathe. Then releasing your hand if it's lifted back to your waist. We'll come all the way back to seated. Releasing the straight leg, softening both legs, finding a little wiggle, a little windshield wiper action. And then we'll find our warrior on the other side. So again, stretching the knees apart. Letting the right knee be in line with the right toes. And sending the left leg out towards straight. The toes may point forward or they may point away from you. Finding that sense that the feet are pushing into the floor, the legs are a little bit active, keeping you really stable. As you're ready, arms reach out to the sides, reaching out through the fingertips, maybe turning your gaze over your right fingertips. Warrior two, seated variation. Remembering to breathe. Remembering to keep the legs really stable, pushing into the floor. Shoulders are a bit soft, even while the fingertips reach away. Now letting the right hand come to right knee, or the right forearm to the right knee or thigh. Left hand can come to the waist. And drawing the elbow back behind you, turning the chest up towards the sky. Staying here, or if it feels okay for the shoulder, the left arm could sweep up and overhead alongside your left ear. Side angle pose. Breathing wherever you are. Keeping activity in the legs. If the left hand is lifted, bringing it back to the waist. Coming back to a seat. Releasing the left leg, bringing it or drawing it in towards you. Softening both legs a little bit, finding a little wiggling or windshield wiper action. Beautiful. Our seated variations of warrior two and side angle pose or Parshvottanasana. Let's come to standing. Drawing the heels in towards your chair as much as possible. If you want to skip this part of the work, you can come to standing any way that feels good if the legs are feeling a little fatigued. But if you're with me, starting to shift the weight into the heels, and hands can come to prayer or to the waist, and we'll lift off the chair just an inch or two, hovering. Breathing. Breathing. And then coming all the way to standing. Releasing the hands as you're ready. Maybe finding a little wiggle or a little shake as we arrive in standing. Let's start by facing the seat of the chair, and we'll move through our standing variation of the sun salutation. Finding the right distance in front of your chair so that when you lean forward, your palms can rest on the seat of the chair comfortably. Once you've got yourself set up, standing in front of the seat of the chair and finding your tall spine, standing variation, mountain pose, or equal standing. The feet can be close together or wider apart, your comfortable stance. I find hip width distance is my favorite, and you can find what feels best in your body. Imagining that all your joints are stacked. Finding that puppet string again, reaching the crown of the head up, shoulders nice and broad, hands resting down by your sides. Remembering our arm variations when we were doing our seated sun salutations, anywhere along the continuum from reaching down towards the floor or up over your head, and deciding where you want your arms to head. What's the variation that would feel good? Maybe cactus or arms out wide or wide V. We'll do this about 3 times as well, so you can switch your variation as we go. Deciding on your first arm variation. With an inhale, let's sweep the arms there. Exhaling to fold forward, bending the knees, and reaching down your legs or thighs as far as feels okay. With your inhale, let's move to straighten the legs any amount. Exhaling to bend them. Again, inhaling to straighten the legs as much as feels okay. Exhaling to bend them again. Moving your hands to the seat of the chair, finding this support, and finding a halfway lift position so the knees can still be bent. The spine is about parallel with the ground, and breathing here for a moment. When you're ready, let's step the right foot back any amount. Maybe imagining that you could reach down through the heel, stretching into the back of the right leg. Maybe imagining pulling the chest forward. Maybe the gaze can look forward. Releasing when you're ready, we'll step the right foot back towards the chair. Finding that halfway lift, spine parallel to the ground. Knees can be bent. And when you're ready, we'll step the left foot back, any amount. Reaching down through the heel, stretching into the back of the left leg. And maybe gazing forward, maybe drawing the heart forward. Releasing when you're ready, stepping the left foot back towards the chair. Finding that halfway lift, spine parallel to the floor. Knees can be bent as always. And let's inhale, drawing yourself all the way to standing, sweeping the arms to their beginning position. And releasing the hands back down to your sides. If there's any dizziness or anything as we come to standing, pausing, allowing kind of the blood to, to reach our head. And we'll move through that again as you're ready, deciding on your second arm variation or repeating the first. As you're ready, inhaling to sweep the arms. Exhaling to fold forward, bending the knees, reaching down the legs as far as possible. Inhaling to move to straighten the legs any amount. Exhaling to bend. Again, inhaling to straighten. Exhaling to bend. Walking your hands to the seat of the chair as you're ready. Breathing here, knees can be bent. We'll step the right foot back any amount. Finding this high lunge variation, reaching down through the right heel. Maybe the gaze lifts to gaze forward. And then stepping the right foot back towards the chair. Halfway lift, spine parallel to the floor. As you're ready, stepping the left foot back, reaching down through the left heel, maybe gazing forward. Stepping the left foot back towards the chair. Parallel spine to the floor, halfway lift. Bending the knees a little more before inhaling to come all the way back to standing, sweeping the arms. And releasing the hands back down towards your sides. Pausing for a moment as we arrive at standing. We'll move through that one more time. So deciding on the last arm variation. Finding that tall stance. When you're ready, inhaling to sweep the arms. Exhaling to fold forward, bending the knees, reaching down your legs. Inhaling to straighten the legs any amount. Exhaling to bend. Inhaling to straighten. Exhaling to bend. Finding the support of the chair, palms come to the seat of the chair. Neutral spine, parallel with the ground. Knees can bend. Last time, we'll step the right foot back any amount, finding a variation of a lunge. Reaching down through the right heel, stretching into the right leg. Maybe again, drawing the chest forward, maybe the gaze goes forward. When you're ready, stepping the right foot back. Pausing in this halfway lift, neutral spine, parallel with the floor. And then as you're ready, stepping the left foot back any amount. High lunge on the other side, reaching down through the left heel. Maybe drawing the heart forward, gazing forward. As you're ready, stepping the left foot back towards the chair. Finding your halfway lift, parallel spine to the floor. With an exhale, bending the knees. With an inhale, sweeping the arms back up to standing. And then releasing the hands to your sides. Again, finding any wiggling that would just feel good, any movement your body's craving, maybe a stretch, maybe a little shake of the legs, maybe your thighs could use some love. Before we make our way back to seated, we'll do some balance. So finding your support, whether that is the backrest of your chair or a wall, whatever works for you. We'll start by standing on both feet, drawing the feet as close together as feels okay. Let's start by standing on our left foot. We'll let the right foot start to get light. And we'll just draw the knee up towards our chest as far as the knee comes. And then maybe playing with the balance here. Maybe the hand lifts off the wall or the chair. Maybe it stays for support. Maybe a finger stays. Light support. Remembering to breathe. It can help to find a spot a couple of feet in front of you on the floor sometimes, something that is not moving, to keep your focus. Maybe 1 or 2 more breaths if it feels okay to stay. And then we'll release the right foot back to the floor. Finding any wiggling, maybe shaking out the standing leg if you felt any sensation in the arch or the sole of that foot. And then we'll switch sides. So whether you switch hands for support as well is up to you. Keeping ourselves even. And here we go. Shifting weight into the right foot. This time the left foot starts to lift and gets light. And then drawing the knee up towards you as close or as far as the knee can come towards your chest. Letting the standing leg be strong. And then maybe playing with your balance. Maybe keeping a finger or some fingertips on the chair for balance. Maybe they lift ever so briefly. Maybe you've got stellar balance and you're no support needed today. Breathing wherever you are, finding your focal point a few feet in front of you on the floor. Another breath or 2 if it feels okay to stay. And then we'll release left foot back to the floor. Finding any counterbalance or extra movements, anything that would just feel good, shaking out anything that needs to be shaken out. If it would feel good before we move to seated, to take a chair variation of down dog, you could rest hands on the backrest of the chair, walk the feet back, and bend into the knees, finding length in the spine. If it would feel better just to come to seated, that's okay too. Finding what your body wants. If you're in the chair version of down dog with me, just taking another breath or 2. When you're ready, slowly walking back towards the chair. And then making your way to seated. It might feel good to let the feet walk a little bit further away from the chair rather than being stacked. And if you have a backrest, it might feel good to rest into the backrest of the chair. The hands can rest palms up or palms down, wherever they feel good. Just taking about 3 calm, deep breaths. Maybe lengthening out the exhale, any amount. If you're counting beats of your breath, then maybe extending the exhale by about 2 extra beats. If you're not counting, don't even worry about it. Just breathe. Hands can stay exactly where they are. Eyes can stay closed or open. To close practice, it might feel good to bring your hands over your heart or hands into Anjali Mudra or prayer position. Sending gratitude to yourself, first of all, for making the time to practice, to move and breathe in community, and honor your body and breath. With gratitude to you for allowing me to guide you through this practice today. And with gratitude to all the students and teachers who have come before us. Peace. Thank you, all of you, for coming this morning. I'll stop the recording here.